What if the struggle that you're feeling right now isn't a life sentence, isn't something that you're stuck with? It's just a bad character build. In the game of life, your external results reflect your internal state. But most of us are brought up with a disempowering identity that was built for survival and not to actually thrive. And then the protector of identity, our ego, does so good of a job at making that identity feel real that we feel trapped, disempowered, and that we can't actually get out of the struggle. Today, I'm going to show you how to manually override all of those disempowering beliefs. I'm going to help you identify the elite character, the best character that you can possibly play in life. The version of you who comes from love, follows her passion and joy, who does not let fear, doubt, and worry lower them down. By the end of this training, you're going to have a clear understanding on how to identify these disempowering beliefs that might be making your life experience lower and how to install the new empowering beliefs to upgrade your identity to actually create a better life. Now, before we dive into the whiteboard, make sure you like and subscribe if this does help you at any point. Let's dive in. How to play the best character in the game of life. First and foremost, what am I talking about here today? So, you know how in a video game, you can choose the character you want to play. You might choose the one with the stats that is really strong, very fast, very smart. But there's also the weaker characters, there's slower characters. Like in Mario Kart, you can choose the car that's not as fast, not as good with braking. There's characters that you can play inside games that's going to make the game experience either better or worse. And it all depends how you play that game and the level that you get to, all depends on the character that you're choosing. For example, let's say you go through an entire game that requires you to upgrade in that game, but you choose not to upgrade. You try to knit and grit your way through each level. If you're stuck at level 5, you might make it to level 5 and defeat that level 5 boss. But how can you expect yourself to defeat the level 10 boss to actually beat the game if you don't upgrade yourself as well? Your stats will not be strong enough. You will not be able to defeat that boss. Now look at the same thing, but as your own personal life, the game of life. You want better life experience. You want a better life, materialistic results, maybe. Maybe it's just results in general. Maybe you just want to be happier, emotionally better. Whatever it may be, you want your reality experience to be better. And in order to do so, we need to do the same thing as we do in video games. We need to make sure that we're creating and picking the right character. I want you to think of growth like this as a constant expansion. In growth, there is two things a part of it. There is the upgrades in life, there's the expansion, and then there's the challenges. The challenges are there for you. These are the challenges. So the constricting moments, they're there for you. They're the lessons that are waiting to be learned. They're the moments where you can experience something so you can learn what you don't want, so then you can go and create what you do want. The problem with a lot of people, though, is that they get caught up in this section right here in the red. They go through the contrast, they go through things that they don't prefer in their life. Poverty, maybe. Maybe you grew up in poverty. Maybe you grew up around abuse. We go through this and we get fixated to it. We get stuck to it, I guess that's a better word. We get stuck to it. We believe that this is how it always is and how it's always going to be. And then we end up recreating that experience over and over and over again. And that is our actual true reality. And that doesn't make the reality, the experience that we would actually prefer. Now, the only reason why we get trapped into that is because this is how the brain operates. This is how the mind functions. This is how we function in life. We're a constant prediction machine trying to recreate our past. What you believe you are, your brain it must follow that like its instructions. So if you believe that you are not worthy, for example, you're going to end up focusing on that, searching for it, recreating it, taking actions in alignment with it, self-sabotaging. If you take too much good action, you are going to find a way to recreate that over and over and over again in your personal reality experience. You're going to find ways to reconfirm that you are not worthy. And we're going to break all that down here eventually. So in life, there is the expansion and there is constrictions, but overall it allows you to grow. But if you genuinely want to get to the top, okay, the top, whatever this top is for you, whatever this top is for you, we need to make sure that we are upgrading. And for us in this reality experience, upgrading is upgrading your beliefs. Okay, upgrade your beliefs, and then you will automatically upgrade your stats, and everything else will follow through. And as we do that, we continue to grow. So, looking at the game of life, okay, here's what you want, whatever that may be. And as you go on this journey to get what you want, there's going to be blocks, there's going to be challenges, you're going to have to give it time. And through that, you have growth, change happens, consistency, and eventually what you want is there waiting for you. It is there waiting for you, right? And we start where we are. Now, again, if we want to make this experience much better, if we want to make this experience much better, we need to be able to play the right character who is going to be able to go through these blocks, to go through these challenges, to actually be able to give it time, who's willing to make the changes necessary, who's willing to easily be consistent with their actions, who's willing to grow. We need to make sure that we're playing that character. Because if you have the right character, if you start the game at a level 100, or if somewhere's in the game you pause and you build this character right here, that character is going to show up through everything else. That character is going to know they're going to make it through. So challenges become easy. It just becomes a part of the path. They trust in themselves. They trust, so therefore the time becomes nothing. They experience, they enjoy the time it takes because they know that it's all happening on perfect timing. They're completely convinced to what they want. So they carry this identity through the whole way, and that's going to get them there much faster, and they're going to enjoy the journey much better as well. So, in order to do that, we must pick the best identity because identity drives everything. Identity is who you believe you are. Who you believe you are. And how identity works is so you have your identity, you have your strong sense of self. How the brain operates is that what comes from identity is your actions, your behaviors, and the decisions that you make in life or the decisions that you don't make in life. Those then experience or create your life experience, the results that you get in life. The next thing it influences is your focus. You have this thing called the RAS. This is your reticular activating system. It filters out 99.9999% of the information going on in your reality. And what is the information that it hyper focuses on? Whatever reconfirms what you already believe to be true. Your brain's never searching for truth. It's searching for reconfirmation of what you believe to be true already. So you can imagine how that's pretty crazy to think about, right? So many opportunities to look at things so differently in such a different way. So many opportunities to experience things in such a different way. So many opportunities to act and decide in different ways. But yet it's all blocked out if it does not serve the belief system. Pretty mind blowing to think about. So you can see how important it is to have the right identity so we can search and focus and think about the right things to get the right results or to act and behave and decide in the right ways. That's almost automatically going to get us to where we want to go. So then identity also has ego, and ego is protector of identity. And this is why it can be so hard to change because if we always react, if we collapse back to our old reaction state, okay, so we personalize things, we internalize things, and that can be thought, that can be experiences, whatever it may be. That is often the ego reacting to defend identity, to keep you stuck in the same cycle. So, taking it a little bit farther on why, if you want the best game experience, if you want the best life experience, you need to change your identity, is because another piece is that your subconscious mind is what runs 95% of the show in your life. It runs everything basically is on autopilot. Okay, that way the brain conserves energy and it can always predict reality, which means it knows that you're going to be safe and secure, which means you're going to stay alive. So the subconscious mind runs 95% of our lives, and here we are in our 5% mind thinking we can make change. But only in the conscious mind is where you can set goals and desires and also plans. But besides that, everything else is basically in the subconscious mind. Your habits, your hidden patterns, okay, your identity, your fear, trauma, what your nervous system, how it detects things. So what is a threat, what is safe, what you focus on, the actions you take, and therefore all overall create your personal reality experience. So that's another point on why we must change identity. Because when we change identity, when we change who we believe we are, okay, when we change our overall beliefs, we then change how we detect things as fear, if it's a threat, if we can heal and let go through trauma. It changes our habits. It changes what we focus on. It influences our nervous system state. It influences our actions. It changes it all. And then success or whatever it is that you want, if you can get yourself in alignment with what you want, it's almost on autopilot because it runs in the background. 95% of the mind, of the brain. So, little last piece to run this home. So, how this really works. So, again, identity. All right. So, we have your core belief systems in the background. Your core beliefs, who you believe you are, that sends you the thoughts and emotions that you feel. Okay, so your core belief systems sends you the thoughts and emotions that you think, that you feel. Over time, that forms identity. And I'm just giving you a quick summary. We're not going to go in crazy detail in every single piece. That's on my other trainings. Long story short, thought and emotion, neurons that fire together are starting to wire together. As you think and feel something, your brain can't tell the difference between imagination and actual real life. So you are always experiencing it. So the more and more that you experience something, the more it becomes regulated, more it becomes safe and attuned to, basically. You're attuned to it. And the more your brain will then try to recreate that over and over and over again in reality. And as you think and feel, that naturally motivates actions, that naturally influences actions, right? So as you think and feel, you create identity, and that influences how you take actions, the decisions you make, and what you focus on. And that overall creates the results in your life, in your experience. And those results can dictate if you live a great life or a bad life, if you play a bad game or a great game. So that's the first piece, the power of changing your identity and your beliefs so that we can have a better life experience. So if it's physical, new results that you want, which means that you need to take new consistent actions, the only way to do that is if you have an identity that's backing it up. If you want to live a better reality experience where you're overall just happier, right? If you're just overall happier, well, emotion is never random. Your beliefs create your emotions by influencing the interpretation you have of the events going on around you. So you do not feel emotions randomly. They always come from an interpretation. And how you interpret things comes from the core belief systems that you have, because that influences what you focus on, how you see things, your overall perspective on life, etc. Like it's so mind-boggling that like your core belief systems, even around life and death, shape multiple other belief systems and perspectives on things that then just reconfirm that reality over and over and over again. It's why it's so hard to help people change their own belief systems. You can't. You can only change your own self. Other people can guide you, but at the end of the day, you must be the one who changes your own self. Your beliefs are so unbelievably powerful. That's why I love this stuff so much. So, I think you get the point now. So now let's go on to, first of all, before we dive back in, into the next section, we need to get clear on what is considered the best game. Okay, what is the best actually? What is the best for your game of life is what I mean. We need to be clear on what is considered the best for your game of life. If you want the best life experience, right? What is considered the best? First things first, we often think, and I do the same thing, right? Okay, well, that means that I have all the money that I want. You know, maybe it's status and respect. Maybe it's materialistic items. You want the car, you want the house, you want the, financial freedom, whatever it may be. Usually that's what we consider the best. But a question for you is that what if all that money that you wanted also guarantee that you're going to be absolutely miserable, depressed, you're going to feel poorer than ever, you're going to feel so scared and nervous. That's just going to make everything in your life 100 times worse. Do you think you would still want that? No. What about the status? Same thing. No. You see, the things that you think you want are only for the feeling you think you're going to get from them. Maybe you want the money because actually what you want is just the financial breathability. You want the freedom feeling. You want to be able to go do what you want when you want to do it. You want to be able to go on that travel, that trip, That's what you really want. You want the feeling. Because if you could still get all those things, but you didn't need the money to get it, would you still care about the money? No. You want those things that you think money is going to give you, that's going to make you feel. Same again, same thing as status materialistic items. So what does that actually mean then? What do we want most? What is considered the best for your game of life? Number one is the highest emotional state. Operating nonstop from joy, love, passion, excitement. Imagine if every single day, despite like what you had or what you've gone through in your life, maybe you've gone through the worst traumatic instances of your life. You've gone through the worst of the worst of the worst, but you wake up every day now with complete joy, love, passion, excitement. Let's say you healed all that past. You changed your mind and how you perceived it and how you looked at your past and the things that happened to you and you did the work. You healed it. You worked through it. You now look at it in a beautiful lens that allows you to live life better. You've done the inner work. And now you look at life as complete joy, love, passion, excitement. Wow. Pretty unbelievable what that would do for somebody. Right? Imagine every day you wake up and you're constantly on joy, love, passion, you're following your excitement. Like you would feel at your absolute, absolute best. You'd not be thinking about the next, like, you're, of course, you're always going to have desires, but you're not going to feel like you're in lack or it's not enough. It's not good enough or whatever it may be. Next is acting on this. So doing the things that you actually love to do, your passions, your fun, right? That's the next thing that's going to make your game of life way better. And then overall positive view on things. So even let's say, for example, death happens or all these things. Remember, we really at the end of the day, we do not know. So why have a belief system around it that's disempowering that causes you suffering when you actually don't know? That's just making the life experience harder, right? So we could change our understanding of it. We could change our beliefs around it to make it in a more neutral or positive way that's not going to allow us to suffer. That will allow us to live a better life experience. So even the challenges that we go through, the things that we might not prefer, at least we don't suffer through them. We can learn or understand them differently to live a better life experience. And then imagine if all of these things then bring you all you want, which means the materialistic things as well. Because money, all this stuff, wanting it is definitely absolutely not a bad thing. Not at all. Not at all. You should want it all the things that you want, all the things, yeah, the life that you want to attract, we'll say. It's okay to want those things. So, and then, so like I said, imagine acting on your highest emotional state, okay, acting on your passions and your fun, having the positive view that brought you more and more of all the things that you want, more love, more the best relationships. Let's say you completely transform yourself and how you see the world and how you feel and think and show up in a relationship, and you can do the things that you absolutely love to do, and your partner's the exact same way, and then you come together and you fit so perfectly. Like that is the absolute goal right there. Same thing, money. You can do everything that you absolutely love to do, that you're naturally motivated to do. So action is so easy to do. You feel like you don't need discipline. You're constantly acting on this passion. Okay, you believe in yourself, you know you're good enough, and then you create something so beautiful, and then other people want to buy it or they want to support you and help you with that. That's the best right there. Right? You're then changing yourself, becoming your best self, healing yourself and letting go of insecurities and things that you might, that might feel make you feel disempowered, not feel as good, that you maybe not accepting about yourself. And you feel like the mask is off. You don't have to pretend. You can fully be your own unique self. That's the goal right there. So that would be the best results, we'll say, for your life experience. I think everyone can agree on that. And if not, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are in the comments. So, best results then, what that means is that it requires the highest, most expanded beliefs. Why? Because reality is just a reflection of your inner belief systems. I use this analogy before that I've learned from other mentors is that when you look at the mirror, if you want the mirror to smile and hold a dollar bill back at you, you must be able to do it first. The mirror is just reflecting back to you what you already are. That's what reality is. Remember, because reality itself is neutral. When experiences and things happen, they just happen. The meaning that we give it all depend upon our belief systems. right? All depends on what we believe to be true, what we believe about how things are, how things work, how things function, etc. So the goal then, because remember, your belief systems, like I said before, it influences all these pieces, your overall emotional state, how you interpret things, the actions that you take, your RAS, what filters out all the information and filters in, the meaning that you give to the events happening in your life, the definitions that you give, the focus that you have, the habits that you have, your nervous system, what's regulated, what's not. Which, by the way, when your body's in a fight or flight state, you cannot heal and it promotes disease. Stress is the basically the number one killer. So imagine how much even healthier we would be as well when we do these things. And also another thing, I was a weight loss coach for over 5 years, coached over 500 clients. A lot of time is because an unhealthy relationship with food. Food was comfort. Maybe they weren't facing things about themselves or accepting things or changing beliefs about themselves, and that was causing them to be disempowered and stuck. A huge amount of the clients went through stuff like that. Like the biggest thing that we did that helped them succeed long term was changing the identity, their belief system. That was the most powerful thing I implemented in my programs. I could do all the diets, all the workouts. I could do every single thing for them. But guess what? You cannot force a horse to drink water. You can walk it to the pond, but you cannot force it to drink water. It has to drink it on its own. The only way for somebody to want to change to actually can stay consistent with the changes, to actually stay consistent with the actions, is that they've changed their identity, who they believe they are, and they stay consistent long enough where that fully becomes embodied. That's it. So reality reflects the belief system. Okay. So if you want the best results, it requires the most highest expanded belief system possible. So think of it like this. Okay. Highest belief system will produce the highest emotional state. Okay. The highest emotional state. So if you want to feel the best about life, you want to see life in the best perspective. If you want to then act off that state, that highest emotional state, that excitement, you want to act upon that excitement. You want to get to the highest state. So you don't want to live in a survival paradigm, which most of us do. A lot of us do, I would say. Grief, apathy, guilt, shame. We're always feeling that way. We have constant regret, despair, blame, humiliated feeling, right? We want to get out of that state and we want to get into peace, joy, love, where we're in bliss, right? We're understanding. We see life from a different perspective. We're reasoning with things. We accept things. That's the states that we want to be in. Complete excitement, connected to all. That is the highest state of being. In hippie terms, that is where you vibrate at the highest level. You raise your frequency to the highest level. And how I explain it, this is how you raise the top identity that you could have that had the best possible life experience, which only can come from the right possible, highest possible belief systems. Okay, the belief systems that serve the right reality experience that you want, I should say. Not the best, because it just is. Either way, you're going to experience life and have your experience. So you might as well pick the experience that's best for you personally. Remember, everyone's different. Everyone wants different things. Even if it's slightly different, everyone wants something different, right? You are your own unique being. So, highest emotional state. How you get into the highest emotional state is first understanding how you feel emotions. They come from an interpretation, which can come from reality. So, how you experience actual events happening in reality. Somebody walks by you, for example. I'll give that explanation or the example in a second. Or in your mind, because your mind, you don't know the difference between reality and imagination. Your brain just experiences it all. So you could even have an event play out in your mind. You could think and feel a certain way about it, and you're having an interpretation about that whole event. You're making it mean something about yourself typically. And that all comes from the belief systems. Okay, and some examples on how this runs your world is number one, let's say somebody who feels ugly. So they believe they're ugly and they're feeling ugly. All right. Well, the event happens where, let's say a person walks by you in the alley with a neutral face. How you would interpret that is she thinks I'm ugly. Even though it's just neutral, right? They're just walking back with a neutral face. They're walking by with a neutral face. Doesn't matter. Who cares? We perceive it, we interpret it as they think I'm ugly. They probably think I'm ugly. And how that worked out is the belief influenced the focus, what they focused on, the meaning they gave to the event happening, and then that became your actual personal experience and just reconfirmed it. I actually am ugly. See, nobody likes me. Nobody's looking at me with a smile. Nobody's checking me out. blah, blah, blah. Next, I am poor. Okay, I am poor belief. So let's say there's an event where there's an opportunity to invest into something that could completely change your life. How your mind would work is it would filter out the information on why it would work and it would only focus on the risk and the fear because that's the poor way of thinking. And then guess what? It'll influence our decision. So it probably won't work, so we don't try it. And then we stay poor. Not saying that, you should invest into every single thing. I'm not saying that. I think you get the point. Next is I'm not confident. I'm not confident creates a bad posture. We want to cover up, we want to collapse, we're insecure feeling and looking, right? Then let's say we go out, we don't dress up the way we should, or not the way we should, but the way we want to actually express ourselves because we're not feeling confident. So we wear black clothes and we dress up, or we wear baggier clothes, or we cover up a little bit. So then we don't look at anybody when we go out, we don't approach anybody, we have a quiet posture, we're not really talking. And then we don't get any of the results that we want, which just reconfirms what we already believe to be true, which is I'm not a confident person. Your beliefs are creating your personal reality experience over and over and over again. And the moment that you find or you truly see and understand this and fully understand and absorb this to the level that we need to actually understand like how genuinely insane that is, how powerful that is, once you fully grasp it, like life is yours. Life truly feels like a game. You can change your mind about things all the time. You can change your beliefs around things. You can change your personal experience. You can change how you overall feel. You can heal through things faster. Like life becomes 100 times better. Okay, so some positive examples. I am abundant. If you believe things always work out for you, when a challenge comes up that usually would make you quit in your tracks over and over and over again, how would you approach it this time? You'd say, well, this is just working out for me. This means this is just a challenge. It's teaching me something. There's a way around it. Like this is a part of the journey. So I'm going to experience this and go through it. Wow. Way better experience than like, I need to get through this. Oh my God, I can never get through this. I suck. I'm not good enough. Why is this challenge always happening in my life? Way better. I'm abundant. I have every single thing I need exactly when I need it in every single moment. All that's happening in reality is in the present moment. The past and the future does not exist as a construct of the mind. So literally you are so abundant right now in this exact moment. You have every single thing that you need to be in this exact moment. That is abundance. That is abundance. You don't have any less than what you need to be here in this exact moment at this exact time. And the more you adopt that state and realize that, and you step through that state in every single moment, you're going to approach situations differently. You're going to think and act differently, and you're going to more and more create that in your personal life. Next, we are all one. We are all connected. If we genuinely adopted that, we wouldn't feel so lonely. We wouldn't feel so against each other, backstabbing, and all those things. Okay? If we genuinely felt like we were all connected, all one. I am worthy and deserving. Imagine how that would feel stepping around all day like that, knowing that you deserve what you want. You would sprint towards what you want then because you know it's rightfully yours. I'm capable. I'm capable enough to change. That's going to help you stay consistent way easier. More experience equals more understanding of myself. That means even if I go through something traumatic or bad, I'm just going to learn about more of myself in there. It's going to make me better. It's going to help me grow. So was it really a bad experience at the end of the day, or was it just is? See, when you really can get this down and master that mind and understand that we can change our beliefs, like everything changes for the better. It's unbelievable. So here's how to start. Number one is write, reflect daily or weekly on the resistance in your life. Resistance is the negative emotions around something, problems, challenges, fear, worthy, negative or disempowering thoughts, all of these. Okay, all of these are resistance in one way or another that we can dissect. So you want to dissect the beliefs that cause the interpretation or perspective, feeling, thought, or behavior around this. How do you do that? Simply ask yourself, this is one way, by the way, there's many ways to do it, but one way is you need to step outside of yourself and really reflect upon yourself. So how you do that is like ask yourself a question like, what would I have to believe to be true about myself right now to be feeling this way about this? I have to believe that I'm not pretty. I have to believe that I'm not good enough. Well, that's a belief. Is it something that helps me grow or just keeps me stuck and disempowering or disempowered? So then you can change out the disempowering beliefs for new empowering ones. For new empowering ones. Because remember, beliefs are not facts. At least not all beliefs are facts. And all disempowering beliefs are never facts. They're never rooted in full truth. They're just beliefs, which means they can change. Remember growing up and you believed in Santa Claus, and that was literally your reality experience, and now you don't believe in Santa Claus, and it's like, if you're old enough, and it's like, whoa, like it's world shocking, right? It shocks your entire world. That's the power behind changing your beliefs from disempowered to more positive. Imagine living in disempowering beliefs that's been making your life a living HE double hockey stick, or just not fun, or not the way it could be. And now you know that you can change it for something so much greater and better. So, next is after you change the beliefs, embody that new state. I have that in other trainings if you want to go watch it, like the void, the identity alchemy. Those ones kind of break it down. And then you just give it time because the new results will be loading because now you're in a new state. You believe differently about yourself. So you think, you feel, you act differently. You build a new identity, which naturally influences actions, behaviors. And if you give that time, new results come up in your life. All right, guys, that is the training for today. Thank you so much for being here through it the entire way. Appreciate you so much. If you love this training, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you want some one-to-one actual help to transform yourself, to hit and find the hidden blocks, the hidden ceilings that's stopping you from your next level in success in your business, make sure you apply below. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next training.